Greetings everyone. Today at Commerce classes we'll be studying adjustment of purchase return and sales return under periodic system. As we all know that under periodic system it is only at the end of the period that we make calculations for the closing stock and valuation of cost of goods sold. So since we are making all the calculations at the end of the period, and then we all know the position of purchase return and sales returns. So in this system, the return amounts are deducted from the relevant purchases and sales, and a final balance is considered for the calculations. That is, we are making all calculations at the end of the period. So all the sales return and purchase returns will be deducted from the lots, and final balance will be considered. Suppose you are having, say, 100 units at a price of 10 rupees. This is your opening balance. Then you purchase something on, say, 1st of February. You purchased 500 units at the price of 30. From 10, let us say it is not 30. Let us say it is 13. Then in the month of February itself, you sold, say, 250 units. Okay, you issued 250 units. Then on 28th of February, you purchased another 700 units at the price of, say, 12.5. Then on 1st of March, you had, say, purchase return. Okay, you had purchase return of, say, 100 units from the lot purchased on 1st February. Then you had sale of, say, 15th March, 19th March, you had sales of, say, another 250 units and, say, another 500 units. Okay. Then on 23rd of March, so you had, say, sales return. You had sales return from 15th March lot, 50 units were returned. Okay. So given this scenario, how will we adjust the return? So since we are not working for the calculations at any time during this period, so it is only at the end of the period, say on 31st of March, we are working for this. So we will be saying our track of purchases plus available balance will be, you had 100 units available. Then on 1st of February, this is the stock available with you. On 1st of February, you had 500 units being purchased, but you have returns of 100 units. So you are having 400 units at the price of 13. Then you had 700 units being purchased. Okay, so these are all your purchases. So you will just keep track of all the purchases. Then you have purchase return. We have already adjusted it. Sale, sale. So these are the units available for sale. Or we can say this is our lot. Now what is the position of sold units? On 21st of Feb you sold 250 units. On 15th of March you sold another 250, and on 19th of March you sold another 500 units. But out of this lot, right, 50 units have been returned from the lot of 15th March, this lot. So your final sales are, so you have sales of 950 units. So this is your sale, and this is all your purchases. So you can determine closing stock, and we can assume that you have total 1200 units. That means your closing stock is 250 units, and these are sales. So depending upon FIFO, LIFO, etc., we'll be adjusting or valuing closing stock as well as the sales. So this is how we adjust returns. Just deduct them from the relevant lots, because all the lots are there with us and we are working at the end. Now let us consider this with the help of one more example, wherein we will be making all the calculations under FIFO, LIFO and weighted average method. So this is our question. Now we are given this information. Opening balance is 100 units, purchases 500, purchases 900, sale, return from the lot purchased on February 10. So this is purchase return from this lot. So what we shall be doing is, our opening balance is same, but this lot is now 400 units because we have returned these units, 100 units. Similarly, then you have another purchases, then sale, then purchases, again return from the lot of April 1, that is this lot. So we are to balance out. Net balance will be, this lot is fully there with us, 900 into 20. This is sale. Okay, this is sale. Then you have purchase, but again from this lot 100 units have been returned. So net purchases of this lot are these 500 units. Then you have sale. Then this is the purchase at 42 rupees per unit, and then you have sale. So in all, if we compile the sales, then we are having a total of 2200 units being sold. And if you compile the purchases plus opening balance, then in all you have 2400 units at varying prices as units available for sale. So these were the units available for sale as per the lots. So this will be considered for calculation of closing stock as well as your cost of goods sold. Now we can determine closing stock in units also. In all we were having 2400 units including the balance, isn't it? That is why we are saying these are the total units available for sale. Out of this, 100 was there in the beginning and remaining 2300 were purchased during the year. Now you sold off 2200 units. So if out of this 2200 units have been sold, it means we must be having closing stock of 200 units. So in order to determine closing stock's value, if we are following FIFO approach, in that case what will happen? First, say it says first in first out. So under FIFO system, your closing stock will be from the latest lot. Under LIFO system, your closing stock will be from the initial lot, right? So this will be 100 from this lot, because in all 200 units are there, so 100 will be covered from this lot, and remaining lots will be assumed to be sold. So under this system we'll assume 300 units, 900 units of this lot, and these two your lots fully have been sold. Wherever if we are following weighted average method, in that case we'll consider all these lots to determine weighted average price, and then that will be multiplied with 2200 units to find cost of goods sold, and 200 units to find out the closing stock. So let us consider this one by one. Now your closing stock is 200, right? 200 units at the price of 42, because this is first in first out. So in first in first out, closing stock should be from the latest lot. This is what we have understood here. So this is your closing stock, and cost of goods sold will be that leaving aside 200 units from this lot, rest have been sold. So your sales will be 100 units, 400 units, 900 units, 500 units, and 300 units from this lot. So this is cost of goods sold. You can determine cost of goods sold as opening stock plus purchases minus closing stock also. So this is your opening stock. These are all your purchases, then deduct closing stock. So it is as good as calculation in this way. Now if you are following LIFO approach, in that case our working is still the same. These are 100 units available with us. Out of this lot, since 400 units were available, you returned 100 units, then you purchased 900. Okay, so these are the lots. This purchase was 600, but again 100 were returned out of this. So from this lot we have 500 units available with us, then 500 into 42. So as per LIFO system, which says last in first out, it means that in order to make sale, you will be using this lot first, then this lot, then this lot. So if we are left with 200 units, out of 2400 units, 22 have been sold. So if we are left with 200 units in the closing balance, then it must be from the latest lots. So 100 units of 30 and 100 units of 35. So this is your closing stock, and remaining 300 units of this lot and all other lots have been fully used for sales. So this is your cost of goods sold. Now same method will be used for weighted average also. So herein it will be 100 into 30. This by now you must have understood by heart, right? So these are your lots available for sale. 500 into 40. Now you can understand why we are taking 500 and then 500 into 40, because you had 100 units deducted from here because you returned it. You had 100 units deducted from February 10 lot. So you will be use this to find out total cost, divide it with total quantity 2400 units to find out weighted average price, and then that price will be used to find out the closing stock and cost of goods sold. So we have 2400 units in all available, 22 have been sold, 200 units are left. So weighted average cost is, this is weighted average cost. So total cost will imply cost of all the units. So you are taking 100 into 30 plus 400 into 35 plus this plus this plus this. So this is your total cost divided by total quantity available, which was 2400 units. If you add up this is 2400 units. So that gives you closing stock of 7233 rupees and this cost of goods sold. Let us consider one more question of sales return. Again, the system is same. Whatever purchase or sale return is there, that must be deducted from the sales to find out the final balances. So even if this is our question, we'll compile it. Like your opening stock is same, 1500 at 30, sale, purchase. Now sales return is from February 6th. So out of this sale, you have got 100 units being returned. So your sale is now 400 units. Purchases are same because there is no purchase return. Now suppose we were given here that you have a purchase return, say from the lot of March 13, say 100 units. Then your March 13 lot is 900. So if you have returned from here, then your final balance will be 100 units at 35. Okay. Right now, we are not given purchase return, but I am just explaining a possibility. Now sale is 1200 units, but out of this March 20th sale, you have got 200 units being returned. So it means your final sale here is 1000 units. Then you have purchase, same 400 into 35. Then you have sale of 500 units. So in all we are selling 1900 units, and in all we are purchasing 3600 units. It means our closing stock will be, out of 3600 units, if you have sold off 1900 units, it means you are left with 1700 units, right? You had 3600 units available for sale, that is opening balance, plus all the units purchased. You sold off 1900 units, so you must be left with 1700 units. Again, we are to apply the same format. If we are having, say, FIFO system, it means the units must be sold from the initial lots. So if you are selling 1900 units, you will be selling this lot fully and 400 units from here. So 400 are sold. So remaining 400 must have been left. So these are left and this lot is also left. So your closing stock is from the latest lot. So this lot 400 plus 900 plus 400 making up a total of 1700 units. Had it been, say, LIFO, LIFO will imply the last in first out. So units must be left from the initial lot. So in that case, your closing stock will be 1500 plus 200 units of this lot. And in weighted average, we average out the price fluctuations. So your closing stock, as we have understood, 1700 units, 1900 have been sold. So closing stock as per FIFO system will be from the latest lots. So we are to compile this information. You see, this might be our question, but we don't need information in this manner. We need to keep a summary of purchases or stocks available for sale. So this summary must be kept separately as a part of working note, and then you can proceed with this. So 56,800 and cost of goods sold is 59,000. Then you have LIFO system. LIFO will imply, again you see you have sale return here of 100. So these are the actual sales. Calculation is same because we are taking same question. So 1900 units have been sold and closing stock is 1700 units. Under FIFO system, we had first in first out. Under LIFO system, last in first out. So this unit must have been sold 400 units. This unit must have been sold 1300 units, and you need 600 more. So out of this 600 units sold. So your closing stock will be, this lot is fully left because you didn't touch this lot. Out of this lot, you are left with 200 units as a part of closing stock. So you split it into 200 and 600. These are the lots being sold, and these are the lots left with you. So this is how we are making calculations. Closing stock is from the initial lots, right? This lot is there and 200 units from this lot, and your cost of goods sold is from the latest lots. Now coming to weighted average, again just revise the calculations, because at the end of the period we know what exactly our sale and purchase position is. So 400 and 1000. Okay, now these are the changes in the sales. This is same. So 1900 units. Purchases are their same. There is no return. Had we been given any return, say you returned goods out of, say, purchases of May 12. Okay, you returned 150 units. Then while compiling the information, we'll be writing units available for sale. So if we are having any purchase return, as we have understood in the previous example, purchase returns will also be deducted from the purchases, and we'll be having, so in that case, out of 400, if 150 are sold, we would be having 250 at the rate of 35. So these will be the units available for sale. So we can calculate total units, cost of goods sold, cost of units available for sale. Anyhow, right now we do not have sale with us, so sales return with us, sorry. So this is your total quantity available for sale, and these are the prices. So calculate total cost, and then you determine the, these are the total units. Total cost can be determined, weighted average price will be determined. So total quantity is 3600 units. Total cost is determined like this. You just add up the cost of all the units divided with 3600 units. That will give you weighted average cost per unit. Now multiply this with the closing stock and with the units sold. That will give you the closing stock value and cost of goods sold. So I hope the adjustment of sales and purchase returns is clear to you under periodic system. It is very easy because we are not to go with the movement of stocks, right? Date wise, we are just to compile the information at the end of the period. So just at the end of the period, pick up your purchases and deduct the returns. You will get net returns, net purchases. Similarly, pick up your sales, deduct the returns, so you have got net sales returns. So net amounts will be considered for the calculation of closing stock and cost of goods sold. So you can practice questions. Stay learning and practicing. Stay happy. Thank you.